Welcome back to the Varsity Voices, our Prognosticus episode where predictions meet the tradition in the Chicago Catholic League. I'm Joe Frevaletti, and here with me is my co-host, Dan Frevaletti. We've hit week 4, and the season is already starting to take shape. Rivalries are heating up, playoff pictures are beginning to form, and every snap, every drive, and every play is carrying more weight. Today, we break down each matchup, highlighting some of the key storylines, spotlighting some of the players to watch, and giving you our take on who walks off the field victorious. So get ready. It's time to look into week 4 in the Chicago Catholic League. Dan, I can't believe we're at week 4 already. I feel like just yesterday you were out at the Montini Maris game, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we got a lot of comments on you being out there, Dan. People love you.
Yeah.
Yes. Give them what they want. I was like, geez, where do we trot Dan out to this week?
Yeah. There were 10,000 there to see me at Montini. So
They were.
It's like the old Loop days. When Steve and Gary would go out.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. But you didn't have enough T-shirts and coffee cups, did you, for all your fans?
No, one doesn't get very far.
It does not get very far. But, you ran into a couple of people that you haven't seen in a long time, right?
Yeah, I did, which is always great. And I've got to I wanted to do this before, and I neglected to do it. And but I wanted to give a shout out to Tim O'Connor. He's a Montini alum. He's a Montini dad. So he sent his kids there. We are the same age, so we both graduated high school at the same time, and he's been a friend since as long as I can remember. Played Little League baseball against him, and both were in Downers Grove, and I went to Montini, he went to Bennett. We had mutual friends. He was one of those guys that
the opposite. You went to Bennett.
I went to Bennett. He went to Montini. Sorry,
right? That's good.
Yeah, one of those guys that was, great friends off the field, bitter rivals on it. We had a lot of fun with it back in the day. We would hang out after games and after the season and everything else. And so it was great to see him. He was the reason we were able to get Kevin Byrne on the podcast. So I really want to thank him for that. And, and it was awesome and great to see him. And I hope I see him again soon, because it was awesome catching up.
If you are looking to buy or sell a home, contact RE/MAX Realtor and Circle of Legends recipient Christopher Cobb. Let Chris's extensive negotiating experience work to guide you on all of your real estate buying and selling needs. Contact Christopher now to discuss the right strategy for your personalized real estate buying and selling plan. His number is 630-420-0070, or you can visit his website at christophercobb.com.
Okay, good. Yeah, and the other thing was, I was trying to think, so back then when you were in the West Suburban Catholic Conference, or you were in the West Suburban Catholic Conference, Bennett Montini was a big rivalry at that point. Did you kind of turn the knife a little bit, as far as to Tim, as far as who won those games you were playing, maybe your junior and senior year?
Yeah, he knows.
He knows.
He knows.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right,
they've got a lot. They've got like 6 state titles they can hold over.
They can,
football
yes.
Now. So yeah, I was quiet because they've come a long way.
It's funny how as time passes that things might change over the course of time, and they have. So
different
anyway,
days. Yeah.
So Dan, my landline was ringing off the hook today with my Prognosticus.
Oh man, mine scratching and clawing started at 5 o'clock this morning.
Really?
Tapping on the window. Yes.
Yeah, and I had some real back and forth on some of these games, and my picks were different from my Prognosticus picks, and made me go back and look at them again, and still, but we didn't end up in complete agreement on these games. So that's just the way it goes when you're predicting stuff, right?
Yeah, and same here. There was a lot of disagreements. There was things that my Prognosticus thought it was important I talk about, and so I took some of his advice or its advice. I don't know what he is, but
you keep calling it he.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. I'm interested to see how much you and I have the same this week and different.
Yeah, it will be. Let's get into it here, Dan. And we'll start with Brother Rice and Loyola. So probably one of the marquee games of the Blue Division. Undefeated Brother Rice, 3-0. They go to, let's see, I think they go to Loyola this week, who's 2-0. And both looking to make a statement here. I think that, they feel like they're both kind of at the top of the Chicago Catholic League. The blue division, first game within the blue division, as far as that goes, and that's going to be on the line as far as who gets off to the best start here from a blue division standpoint. So what do you see in this game, Dan? What are you looking at here?
I'm looking to see just how good that sophomore duo, of quarterback and receiver. So Jordan McKinley at receiver, and the quarterback's name is just escaping me as we're
it
going to
is
talk about
Matthew Lee or
Lee.
Don Maloney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think that Brother Rice is going to be able to lean on, number one, they've got the talent to, let's say, match Loyola, if not exceed. And they've got the experience, where it counts as well. And so that is how I see this playing out. I think it's going to be, you're going to get a theme from my picks, Joe, but I've got Brother Rice winning in a close game.
Okay. Yeah. And you hit on something that I didn't realize until I started looking at this game, Dan, is, Loyola, if you want to say it, they can be considered young, right? They've got some really younger players at some key positions on their team. I mean, quarterback, if you're talking about Matt Lee, and Jordan McKinley, if you're talking about wide receivers, I mean, they're both really good, but what I think Brother Rice brings to the table here is some real experience and seasoned experience in being in big games, being in tough games. And the only thing that I'm holding back on here is that this game is at Loyola. But I do think Brother Rice travels well, and I think they're going to go there, and I think they're going to come away with a win as well. So we're on the same page. ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a devastating illness that weakens the muscles we use to move, swallow, and breathe. Over time, it becomes fatal. On average, people live just 2 to 5 years after diagnosis. There's no cure yet, but thanks to research and clinical trials at the Les Turner ALS Center at Northwestern Medicine, we're getting closer every day. This fight is personal for me and Dan. Our brother-in-law passed away from ALS a couple of years ago. That's why I want to invite you to join the ALS Walk for Life on Saturday, September 20th at Soldier Field, hosted by Chicago's Les Turner ALS Foundation. Funds raised support their mission to provide comprehensive care for people living with ALS, their families, and to advance life-changing research. Come be part of the movement. There'll be food trucks, live entertainment, and fun for the whole family. Together, we can honor loved ones, support those battling ALS today, and bring hope for a cure tomorrow. Learn more or register now at alswalkforlife.org.
Yep.
With that game, Dan.
Yeah, right. That doesn't surprise me. And, I wonder if Loyola would love to play this game Saturday afternoon, just to kind of maybe throw off the schedule a little bit.
I think they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's something that they're used to, obviously.
Right.
Now, they put in their lights last year and all of that, but I don't know. We'll see. But that's going to be a fun one to watch and follow. Yeah. All right, let's move down to the Mount Carmel Ignatius game, Dan. And what are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's going to be Mount Carmel. I don't see this one being really close. I think kind of, St. Ignatius has taken a step back to take a step forward, if that makes sense. They're really young too. Yeah. I think their lower levels are going to be really good. I don't think that running game is going to have the impact that they'd like it to have against Mount Carmel. I think you can say this probably week in and week out, playing Mount Carmel, until maybe Brother Rice. But I don't see how anyone could match up better than Nazareth matched up last week.
Right.
And what
Mm-hmm.
was the final? 43-27?
21, 27.
21. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's I think that's probably as close. I think St. Ignatius, they would never admit it, but I think they'd be thrilled for an outcome like that. But I see Mount Carmel winning this one going away.
Yeah, I think Mount Carmel is just too loaded, Dan, and too good on both sides of the ball on offense and on defense. They've got stars up and down their lineup, and I do think they're just a notch above most of the other talent or teams within the Chicago Catholic League. Seeing what they were able to do, against Nazareth last week, and you and I talked about that game, and Nazareth has got a ton of talent too, and
They're really
they
good.
they're really good. They hung in there too, and they had a couple of key things in the game, so I think Nazareth is right there too, but I think from a standpoint of St. Ignatius trying to hang with Mount Carmel here, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to pick Mount Carmel, and same as you. I think this may get a little bit lopsided towards the end of the game, but we'll see. That's why they play the games.
That's
But
why
I'm
they
going
play.
with Mount Carmel,
All
right?
right. Yep.
Okay. All right. So next one here, Dan, St. Rita and St. Francis. This is this should be a competitive game, I think. And this is, I believe, is at, where is this at?
Rita.
Is it at
It's
Rita?
at Rita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one thing I was looking at in this game, Dan, is I feel like these two teams, even though, St. Francis has a better record right now, I feel like they're fairly evenly matched. I'm interested to see who can put together a more balanced attack on offense. I know St. Francis can throw the ball with Brock Phillip, their quarterback. They've got some outstanding wide receivers, and I know they're going to rely on that. But I think when you come up against a team like St. Rita and their defense as well as their offense, and I think Rita's going to try and control the ball a little bit here to keep it out of St. Francis's hands. But I want to see who can run the ball in this game, and if either of these teams can run the ball in this game.
Yeah, I know St. Francis has had some success running the ball. Rita obviously last year was so much run,
Yeah.
and so physical. But and Joe, I mean, for as good as we think St. Rita is, right? They're 1-2.
Right.
They're 1-2,
Yeah.
and they do not want to have to fight back from a 1-3 start. I think they go all out in this one. I
Yeah.
think it is. I think it's no holds barred. I think they are they are ready to go and feel like it's a must win
Yeah.
and might play like that. And they came into St. Francis last year and put it on them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So St. Francis is going to have a little bit of a revenge factor there, and I think they have your star power edge too.
Yeah. Me too.
Just by a little bit, but I think it's going to be a good game. I think St. Rita wins this game. Joe, here's my theme of the week: in a close game.
In a close game. So, all right, I can feel that, I can hear that, Dan, and I can see that when I look at the other games we're going to cover too.
Yes.
Yeah, but even though I said I think I'd like to see who can run the ball, who can have a more balanced attack here. I do think this is going to turn into an aerial show. And if it does, I think St. Francis definitely has the edge there with the talent at quarterback. I love Armbruster as well, but I don't think he has the number of weapons to throw to that Brock Phillip has at St. Francis. So, I'm going to pick St. Francis in this game, Dan.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't know. There were some injuries in St. Rita
Right.
earlier
Walter
this year.
Jones.
Yeah.
Which
Not
was,
sure where,
yeah.
how serious. Don't want to speculate on that, but
No, I don't either.
See if he's full strength, and you see the soft tissue injuries happening all over football. So it's a thing for sure.
Yeah. All right. So the next game here, and kind of a West Suburban battle, I guess you would call it, is IC and Nazareth. So IC, this game is at IC, right?
Yes.
So IC's great start to the season, 3-0. They host Nazareth, 2-1. We mentioned earlier that Naz lost the game last week to Mount Carmel. I think IC is got something to prove here. Like we said, they've started out 3-0. They've looked really good. I like their players, on offense and on defense. I think they've got that star power, right?
Yeah.
At least we're starting to see some of that come out. But when I watch Nazareth play and I watch who they have, and even though they lost last week to Mount Carmel, I think they lost in a way where they were very competitive against a really good Mount Carmel team. And even though I've been sitting at the round table
Right.
for the first 3 weeks, I'm going to go with Nazareth in this game, Dan. I think they've just got too much. Yeah.
Yeah, they really do, Joe. And it's funny because I see some similarities on these teams, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
I've said multiple times that I think both of these teams play defense, and it looks like there's 16 players on the field because of just how fast and how they swarm the football. I am really interested to see how IC performs here. They're hosting a top 5 team. I
Right.
bet that school Joe is fired up.
Going
I
to be
bet they are
rocking.
up for
Yeah.
grabs.
It
It's a
is.
big game. There's going to be a ton of people, and by rankings, Max Preps has Naz at number 5 and IC at number 21.
Okay.
So, Joe,
Yeah.
the equivalent to just say how big this game is, the
Yeah.
equivalent of that in college football this week via the AP poll is Georgia taking on Michigan. And you know what a big game, that would be, right?
Huge.
And
Right.
so I hope that we can catch some video of it and see it at some point. I think I'm picking the upset here. I'm going to pick IC. I think they've got some magic working in this one, and we see IC winning in a close game.
Okay. So you're sitting at the round table
I'm
this week.
sitting at the round table. I'm there.
Right.
Yes, sword in
All
hand.
right. I do like it. Yeah. Okay, good. And all right. So the next game, and I find this really interesting, Dan, is Marist and Joliet Catholic. Um, both teams are 0-3
Yeah,
at
that's
this
the
point.
storyline here.
Did you think at all we would ever be talking about that this year, that these two teams who have been so successful over the years just have had not very good starts to the year this year. They've run into some really good teams as well, but I just feel like they don't quite have just that one more level or one more notch that they can get to, that would get them in the win column against a really good team. So that makes this game really interesting, right? And to me, this comes down to where this game is at, because I do feel like, like I said, they're both 0-3. They're both really good teams. They're both talented. They're both kind of struggling to find themselves right now. And I think Marist probably will find themselves at home against Joliet Catholic. So I'm going to pick Marist in this game.
All right, Joe. So I'm calling this the Something's Got to Give Bowl.
Okay.
So 2-0-3
good name
teams
for it.
that,
Yes.
and Joe, I bet you couldn't pay teams to play these two in the playoffs if you literally gave them money to play them.
Right.
That's how good they are. And the loser will be 0-4 and have to win out to be guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, which is kind of mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling. Yes.
And this, bear with me a second here, Joe. So this reminds me of European Soccer League games where there's two teams in jeopardy of being relegated. So they're two last place teams essentially.
Right.
And rather than it being played like it's a blow off, like nobody cares, the intensity in this game's got to be through the roof, just like those. So to avoid that relegation, and
right.
I feel like that's what I'm anticipating for this game. I don't know if Luke DeTemple will be back for Marist, but I do think they have an edge here, and I've got it underlined too, at home against JCA. So I've got Marist in a close game.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'll be close too. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the Providence Notre Dame game, Dan. And what are you seeing in this one? New coach at Notre Dame, and he's had a good start here, right? Under his tenure, but Providence, as we said last week, they looked really good. They look really talented. I don't know. What are you thinking on this one?
I think Providence probably still has the edge in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from an overall talent perspective, I think they've got more weapons on both sides of the ball. I think Notre Dame is figuring something out, as they go, kind of, and it's kind of exciting to watch. It's a fun time to be a fan of a team, to see them kind of growing and getting better and turning it around kind of right in front of your eyes,
Right.
as you watch. But I just don't know that they're at that point. I think maybe this game week 7 or 8 might be different, but
Mm-hmm.
I think Providence will come out of this, on top of this in a close game.
Yeah. You think it's
Joe,
going to be close? All
I
right.
do. I think it's
Okay.
going to be close. You
Yeah.
want to hear something? You want to
Yes,
hear
I
some
do.
facts? Can
How
I tell you?
far apart are they? Is that one
Nope,
of them?
nope. That's not it. That is
Okay.
not it. So,
Great.
do you know what a Don is? You
No.
do. You might just
I
not think you do.
I think I probably know what it is, and I could probably dress up like one if you tell me. Yeah, but go
Well,
ahead.
it's a name that shows respect, and it's
Okay.
typically used for priests,
Oh, yeah.
and it's funny how Notre Dame gets associated with the Irish, and rightly so, but the Don, as we know, originates from the Italians,
Right.
and so which also means sign of respect, and
Yeah.
that's what it's called. The take you back to the Godfather and whatever
Don
else.
Corleone.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that meaning, has kind of changed, but the bottom line is it's associated with respect, which is what I think Notre Dame is going for. The Celtics refers to a number of European tribes that settled in Ireland and that melded their language and tradition together, and the name stuck. And it was the Celts,
Right.
until we did our thing in the US and softened that sea, the
Yeah.
Celtics. But I don't know what any of that has to do with tomorrow night's outcome,
Not
but
much, but
I
I
thought it
I
was
like it, and I
interesting.
appreciate you sharing that.
Yes, a little history lesson. But again, just
You
real quick, Joe, Providence comes out on top of this in a close game.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be very close, Dan, and I think Providence comes out on top too. And the only reason I say that is because Providence's offense has looked pretty explosive so far this year, and I know Notre Dame has got a good defense, and but they played in some close games. They won some close games. They lost a close game. Mostly low scoring, right? I think Providence on the offensive side of the ball is going to be explosive again this week, and I think they kind of pull away at the end here and get a big win over Notre Dame.
All right.
All right. So we've got, let me see here, Dan, DePaul Prep versus St. Pat's. Uh, Interesting game here. What are you thinking? This is at St. Pat's, Dan.
Yeah.
We've been
Joe,
there.
I'm not willing to write off my sleeper pick to win the division just yet.
Okay.
And especially since after I've seen them play, I truly believe that they are a team that is going to get better every single week.
Yeah.
And they're putting some things together. I really like their quarterback. He is confident, accurate, stands tall in the pocket, puts the ball right in easily catchable positions, and
Right.
I think they are in a spot where they can get a signature victory, and this could be it. They are every bit as big as DePaul Prep.
Mm-hmm.
They have playmakers on either side of the ball. Joe, I'm going out. I'm picking St. Pat's in a close game this week.
Okay. Yeah. And I was with you earlier, Dan, on this, and I was thinking, St. Pat's as well. But I like what DePaul Prep did last week in their win. I feel like they kind of took a step back and said, let's go back to the basics here and let's run the ball. We've got a really talented running back here, and last name Hooks. I can't think of the first name. Tyson, maybe, or Taylor. It starts with a T.
Just got to throw the ish out there.
Yes, yeah. And I really like that. And, I think they're going to kind of rely on that this week as well. I know St. Pat's has some have some big players on defense, and probably is pretty good at stopping the run. But I like to see DePaul Prep here kind of committing to the run, and they've really got a talented sophomore running back and going to be able to do that. So I'm going to pick DePaul Prep in this game, Dan.
All right. It's
All
going to be
right.
a separation week for us as far
It
as
sure
picks go.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're I think right now our records I think we're the same. Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
So this will be it. We've got to make sure we go over this again in the review or
Okay.
next
Yeah.
next week's Prognosticus episode.
Oh, for sure. Okay. All right. So the next game, Dan, is Bennett versus St. Viator. Big purple division game here. We like what we've seen from St. Viator so far. I know they lost last week to Marmion. Bennett had a win that they needed against De La Salle. Not sure they were tested all that much in that game. How much they were able to kind of get back on track after the loss the previous week. But this game is at St. Viator, Dan. And I know I like the way St. Viator's defense is playing, but I do think that Bennett probably learned a little bit of something about themselves last week as far as what they can do, maybe what they can't do, and what they should probably rely on, especially on offense going forward. So I think Bennett goes to Arlington Heights to St. Viator, and I think Bennett wins this game this week.
Do you? Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I think it's going to be another close game.
Mm-hmm.
And like St. Pat's, I don't think Vider is someone that any team should look past.
Right.
Bennett's 2-1. I think they may have something brewing with Clevenger utilizing his legs a little bit. I think he
Right.
showed that he's a capable runner with the football, which is always such a good weapon. But Vider has a ton of skill, some size up front. And if they find a way to finish drives, I think they
Mm-hmm.
are right now. They are that team that goes 20-20 as well as anybody,
Right.
and they've got to find a way to finish, limit the self-inflicted wounds, and they can be really dangerous. Joe, I'm going to go with you here too. I'm picking Bennett in a really close one, an important game in the purple.
There's your theme. Close
Yep.
games.
Bennett
Yep.
in a close game.
Bennett in a close game. Okay. All right. The next one I do not think is going to be all that close, Dan, but this is De La Salle and Marmion. We were out at Marmion yesterday with Zuko, presenting our Zuko's Dog of the Week for last week's games to Vinny Testa, linebacker for Marmion. Had a chance to watch a little bit of practice, talk to some of the coaches out there as well. And I think Coach Guerra has got something going on here with Marmion. Now, they don't have the numbers, that a lot of the other schools have, but they've got talent and they play really hard.
Yeah,
And
they're believing right now.
they're believing, and they're coached really well, too. So, we know De La Salle is struggling right now. They've got a lot of young players, with not a lot of experience. They've had some, their first 3 games have been tough for them, and I think that continues here against Marmion. This is at Marmion as well, so De La Salle is coming all the way out to Aurora.
Oh,
sure,
horrible ride of
horrible
the week.
ride,
Horrible ride of the week, right there.
Yep. Yes, it sure is. So I am picking Marmion in this game, Dan.
Yeah. See, well, I'm with you, Joe. I think Marmion's got too much. It's funny they don't have great numbers, but a little like St. Francis, they've got good people in each spot. Right. They've got some big quality players up front. They've got a great backer, Vinny Testa, who's the dog of the week. And, so he's a really good linebacker. They've got a nice quarterback. I was shocked at just how fast Roy McGagne is.
Mm-hmm.
Watching on film, I'm like, whoa, he can really run.
Yeah.
He's been a guy that's been good from the pocket, but he is a weapon offensively. So I think they have too much for De La Salle in this one, and win going away.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the next game here, Dan, that I have is Leo versus Marian Catholic, and this is at Leo. I believe they're playing their games at St. Xavier University, their stadium now. And Leo's had a decent start to the year here. They're 2-1 now. Last week they did take a loss last week, which kind of brought them back down to earth after the win the previous week. But we're also saying Leo right now is 2-1, right? Marian Catholic, who's 0-3, has to travel to Leo and play this game. And this is probably the hardest game for me to predict. And I went back and forth with my prognosticus on the phone a couple times. And he likes Leo in this game. Of course,
he does.
Right?
Okay, yeah,
he likes Leo in this game. I'm not sure. For me, I just haven't seen enough of Leo on offense and being able to score points. Their
Leo or
defense.
Marian?
Leo.
Okay,
I'm talking about Leo.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to see them score many points on offense, and I really like to see them get going on that end. But I'm going against my prognosticus on this, and I'm going to pick Marian Catholic in this game, and they get their first win.
Yeah, I think they have too much experience. Joe, we got to talk real quick. How cool was it that Leo's choir was on America's Got Talent?
Oh, it was really cool. Yes, very cool. And I know Leo takes a ton of pride in their choir, as they should, because they're really good.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple of football players, basketball players, a lot of athletes who are in the choir as well. And they loved him on America's Got Talent for sure.
It hurt them from a football perspective. They had some key contributors that are part of that choir, but I think those guys did the right thing by going. That's a once in a lifetime. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, you'll be able to sing like birds long after you've hung up your spikes, your football spikes. Right?
Long after you can make a tackle or throw a pass.
So keep singing. Keep singing. Yes, that's going to take you a lot further than football will. So good for those guys. But I think Marian leans on their experience here, and Marian's experience over Leo's youth and competitive spirit will give this one to Marian Catholic.
Okay. All right. How about St. Lawrence versus Carmel, Dan? This at St. Lawrence. So
Joe,
what do you think?
Have you seen the video going around with Coach Swanson hyping up their team?
No, I have not.
It might be in the weight room. It's awesome. You got to look it up.
All right,
awesome.
I will.
Yeah. One of the coolest things I've seen in a while. I'm all for a glossy hype video, but this is more old school, awesome. Yeah, very, very cool. Okay. And this team, you see a team that is all in. Not one guy was too cool for school. And it's really one of those things that makes high school football fun. That said, I think Carmel has too much in the way of playmakers. Mm-hmm. And while they took a step back last week, I think they right the ship. And do you know what a courser is, Joe?
No.
It's essentially a Viking, but in the Mediterranean Sea. So they're really
interesting.
Smart Vikings. Smart Vikings, because they're warm. They're where it's really.
They're much smarter Vikings.
Yes. Yeah. I will take the Mediterranean over the North Sea anytime.
Okay.
Right. If you fall off the boat, I'm in the Mediterranean. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. I can float here for a long time.
Right? Yeah. Versus the North Sea, you're done.
Oh, you're done immediately.
You're done.
Yes.
So I take the coursers in this one. It's going to be Carmel in a close game.
I agree with you on that. I think this is going to be a close game, Dan. And I also agree with you that I think Carmel has a bit more of that star power. at this point, in their program than St. Lawrence does. But I love the way St. Lawrence is playing right
Me
now.
too.
But I'm going to go with Carmel as well. I think they probably had a tough week of practice this week because it was a little bit of a setback last week against Providence, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they wanted it that way. Their players are so focused and ready to go. I bet they embrace that tough practice in the heat that we've had
Yeah,
this week.
I think they probably did. So
Yep.
I'm going to pick Carmel as well, Dan.
Okay.
All right. So I think you're really looking forward to this game. I am too, the next one here. But so much so that I heard you talking about it yesterday. What do you think about the Montini Fenwick game?
Yeah, I've got here red letter game.
Red letter game.
Yeah.
Is this one falling into your theme for the week?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Fenwick has been one of the most efficient teams offensively I have seen all year. It's just the word that jumps into my head, when I watch them play.
And Zuko's head.
Yeah, Zuko agrees. But
all right.
And they've just had it all week. So I've not seen all their games, but
yeah.
And then the game I did see last week against Montini. Can you hold it down for one more second, buddy? One more second.
Oh, look at him obeying. Looking at you and obeying.
Yeah, good dog.
Yeah, good dog.
The game I watched for Montini, Israel Abrams was electric. And they know how to win, Joe, and they have a legit home field advantage.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So all that being said, I think it's going to be one of the coolest games to watch. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere. I'm picking Fenwick in a close game.
Okay, in a close game. Yes. All right. I looked at a couple different factors in this game, and I like the star power on both teams. What I haven't heard, Dan, and maybe you can tell me this. So, wide receiver for Montini, C.J. Harkins, did you see anything from him last week when you were out there watching that game? Or, I've heard Ortega's name mentioned, right? As one of their wide receivers, but I really thought this was going to be a huge year for C.J. Harkins, but I just haven't heard anything about him.
Yeah, me neither, Joe. And doing a lot of watching the game, but kind of in the chatter, there wasn't mention. So
right.
It was the main target seemed to be is it Dominic Ortegon?
Ortegon, that's it. I said Ortega. It's Ortegon. Yeah.
So he seemed to be Izzy Abrams' main target.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We maybe we could have some of our Montini faithful let us know the story there. But regardless, they look, like I've said all year, they look like Montini. We thought they'd look a lot different. They look just like Montini. So it's going to be an awesome game.
It is going to be a really good game, and I love both these teams. I think this definitely is going to fall into your theme for the week. It's going to be a close game. But I'm going to go the other way on this, Dan, and it's because I think these teams are really even, and this is going to be at Montini, where we know they've got an edge when they get to play at home, especially in big games like this. So I'm going to pick Montini in this game.
All right, in a close one.
In a close one, yes, I am right in your theme. In a close one, for sure.
All right. You are riding the Bronco.
I am riding the Bronco.
Yeah, I fell off a little bit this week. So
yeah, you did kind of fall off, especially they gave you arancini last week. That should be good for at least one more week.
I'm eating and drinking with the fryer this week.
Right. Okay. All right. So that wraps up this week 4 edition of the Prognosticus here on the Varsity Voices. The Chicago Catholic League always delivers drama, intensity, and unforgettable moments, and this week should be no different. We'll be back with a full recap once the dust settles after the weekend. We'll break down the highlights, upsets, standout performances. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share the Varsity Voices so you never miss an episode. And until next time, thanks for listening, and we'll see you under the Friday Night Lights.